The hall of celestial accord had never been so silent. Thousands of beings from across the Orion sovereignty filled the tiered amphitheater carved into the living crystal of Zalara Prime. Their bioluminescent garments pulsed softly like resting stars. Suspended holographic banners rotated above the floor, displaying the sigils of noble houses, royal bloodlines, and planetary alliances. The air itself shimmered with ionized fragrance, ceremonial incense meant to soothe nerves before momentous decisions. Yet no fragrance could calm the tension coiled around Princess Seralith of House Solara. She stood at the center dais, beneath the towering crown-shaped arch of refractive diamond. Her silver-blue skin glowed faintly beneath the radiance of overhead suns. A circlet of starlight metal rested on her brow, marking her as heir to the sovereign throne. Her long tendrils of hair drifted weightlessly in the low-gravity field, each strand tipped with tiny crystalline nodes that chimed softly when she moved. Today she would choose not merely a mate, but the future consort of the Orion sovereignty, the one who would stand beside her when she ascended the throne. The one whose lineage would bind entire sectors into unity or fracture them into war. The selection had been ordered by the Council of 12, ancient rulers whose combined authority outweighed any single monarch. Seralith had reached the age of ascension. By law, she had one cycle to choose. If she refused, the Council would choose for her. So she stood here, before the galaxy, heart pounding against the stillness. Across from her, on the lower dais, waited the candidates. 5 of them. 5 beings of unmatched pedigree. Prince Kaler of the Nova Dominion, tall and radiant, his golden armor reflecting every beam of light like a living sun. His smile was confident, sharpened by generations of conquest. Ambassador Virene of the Vortex clans, elegant and serpentine, eyes glowing violet with psychic intensity. She offered power through secrets and hidden networks that spanned half the galaxy. Lord Arkshuan of the Iron Nebula, massive and stone-skinned, adorned in war metal and runes. His people commanded fleets of living battleships. Prince Sale of the Crystal Choir, delicate and ethereal, his voice capable of bending energy fields and calming entire worlds. And lastly, the one nobody expected to be there. Human. Commander Elias Ward. He stood slightly apart from the others, dressed not in ceremonial regalia, but in a simple black uniform of the Terran Expeditionary Corps. No glowing aura. No crown. No ancient bloodline. Just a man from a newly contacted species, Earth, invited to the sovereignty only 5 cycles ago. He looked utterly out of place among galactic royalty. Yet he stood straight, hands clasped behind his back, jaw firm, brown eyes steady. Not arrogant, not fearful, simply present. The crowd murmured like distant thunder. A human had no business in the selection right. Not tradition, not logic, not politics. But Princess Seralith had insisted. And now the moment had come. A council herald floated forward, an ageless being composed of shifting light. Its voice echoed through the hall. Princess Seralith of House Solara, heir to the Orion sovereignty. The galaxy watches. Speak the name of the one you choose. Speak, and destiny is bound. Seralith's fingers tightened slightly at her sides. She knew what was expected. Kaler would ensure military dominance. Virene would guarantee covert supremacy. Arkshuan would fortify the empire against rebellion. Sale would usher a golden age of harmony. Each choice came with predicted outcomes. Carefully modeled futures. Statistical perfection. The council loved predictability. But Seralith's thoughts were not on probability graphs or royal obligations. They were on a memory. A burning research station near the fringe of sovereign territory. A reactor meltdown.
Panic.
Screaming. Flames licking across steel corridors. And a human commander forcing open sealed blast doors with bare hands reinforced by nothing more than stubborn will and primitive exosuit servos. Dragging injured Zalarans across collapsing walkways. Carrying children not his own. Shielding Sarilith herself when a beam fell from the ceiling. He had not known who she was then. She had worn a civilian shroud. Just another being in need. He had saved her life. Not for glory, not for favor, but because it was right. That moment had never left her. Sarilith stepped forward. The chamber grew so silent that even the hum of distant star engines seemed to fade. She raised her chin and spoke. I choose Commander Elias, Ward of Earth. For one long breath, no one moved. Not a gasp, not a whisper. Not even the ever-present chiming of crystalline garments. The galaxy froze. Kaler's confident smile shattered. Byrene's pupils flared in shock. Arkshuan's stony brow cracked with disbelief. Sail's luminous aura flickered unsteadily. The council herald dimmed for a fraction of a second, something it had not done in millennia. A human, someone whispered in the crowd. Another voice, louder. Impossible. Insult. Madness. Disaster. Sarilith stood unwavering, though her heart thundered. Elias himself blinked once, clearly stunned. He had known he was nominated. He had never expected this. A council elder floated forward, one of the 12. Its body resembled an enormous floating crystal skull veined with cosmic energy. Princess Sarilith, it intoned, voice like grinding asteroids. Do you comprehend the magnitude of your declaration? I do, she said firmly. The human species holds no sovereign rank. Then let this be the first. Their worlds are unstable. Their politics chaotic. So were ours once. Their lifespans are brief. Then let him treasure every moment. Murmurs rippled through the amphitheater. The elders' glow darkened. Tradition, Sarilith interrupted, is a guide, not a cage. A daring statement. Dangerous. Almost treasonous. Another council voice joined in, cold and sharp. Do you choose him of free will? Sarilith did not hesitate. I do. The herald raised its radiant arms. Commander Elias, Ward of Earth. Step forward. Elias swallowed, then walked toward the dais. Every step echoed in the vast chamber. He stopped before Sarilith, meeting her luminous gaze. Princess, he said quietly, if this choice endangers your people, say the word, and I will withdraw. I will not be the cause of war. Her expression softened. That is precisely why I chose you. She extended her hand. After a moment's hesitation, Elias took it. Their hands clasped. A surge of energy exploded outward in a ring of silver light, the ancient rite acknowledging the binding. The hall erupted in gasps. Holographic sigils rewrote themselves midair, replacing royal bloodline symbols with the emblem of Earth's Terran star. The impossible had become real. But the story was far from over. In the cycles that followed, the galaxy trembled. Some hailed Sarilith's choice as visionary. Others called it sacrilege. Trade alliances wavered. Noble houses whispered of rebellion. Several planetary monarchs threatened to withdraw from the sovereignty entirely. Assassination attempts followed. The first came in the gardens of the floating palace. Energy darts slicing through the air toward Sarilith's heart. Elias moved faster than any royal guard, throwing himself in front of her. The darts burned across his armored vest, knocking him to the ground. He survived. Barely. After that, the council could no longer deny reality. The human was not merely symbolic. He was her protector. And Seralith was no sheltered royal. She trained with him, learned Terran combat tactics, studied human unpredictability. They became a team, not ruler and consort, but partners. Slowly, something changed. The galaxy watched a princess who once followed ceremonial steps begin to lead with conviction. A human who should have bowed before ancient beings instead earned their respect through courage and integrity. When pirates from the Dead Rift attacked a sovereign convoy, Elias led the counterstrike personally, saving thousands. When a planetary famine threatened rebellion, Seralith and Elias together opened royal grain reserves against council objections, averting war. Resistance softened. Doubt turned to reluctant admiration. And admiration, eventually, to acceptance. 1 year after the selection rite, the coronation day arrived. The same hall of celestial accord filled once more. But this time, the atmosphere felt different. Not tense. Anticipatory. Seralith stood before the galaxy again. But now Elias stood beside her, wearing newly forged sovereign armor, Terran black interwoven with Zalaran silver. The council herald spoke. Let it be known. Princess Seralith ascends as Empress of the Orion sovereignty. And by her chosen bond, Commander Elias Ward stands as Imperial Consort. A wave of light crowned them both. Applause rose, not from all, but from enough. A beginning. After the ceremony, they stood on a balcony overlooking Zalara Prime's glowing oceans. Elias exhaled slowly. You realize, he said, half the galaxy thought you were insane. Seralith smiled. Half the galaxy always thinks something new is insane. He glanced at her a little awed. And if they're right? Then, she said, sliding her hand into his, we shall be insane together. He laughed quietly. Somewhere beyond the palace, stars shimmered across the cosmic sea. A new chapter had begun, not built on tradition alone, but on trust between two unlikely worlds. The princess had been ordered to choose. Everyone had frozen when she picked him, and in that frozen moment, the future of the galaxy had changed forever. 5 years passed. The Orion sovereignty had not collapsed as the pessimists predicted, nor had it become a human-dominated empire as the fearful had warned. Instead, something unprecedented had taken root. Cooperation not through conquest or bloodline, but through shared purpose. On the anniversary of the selection rite, the Hall of Celestial Accord filled once more. But this time, the mood was celebration, not tension. Princess-turned-Empress Seralith walked the central aisle, her once light steps now steady, with authority. Beside her walked Elias Ward, no longer merely a commander, but a symbol known across 1,000 worlds. Some still whispered that he was an accident of fate. Others called him the bridge between stars. At the center of the hall stood a small figure, a child. Her skin shimmered with Seralith's silver-blue glow. Her eyes were unmistakably human. The first hybrid heir of two species once separated by light years and mistrust. The crowd bowed as the child approached the crystal dais. She looked up at her parents with a calm far beyond her years. Speak your name, the council herald intoned gently. The child's voice carried clearly through the hall. I am Lyra, Ward Zalara, daughter of Earth, daughter of the sovereignty. I belong to both. A ripple of awe passed through every species present. Not fear this time. Wonder. Seralith knelt, placing the star metal circlet into her daughter's small hands. One day, Seralith said, you may wear this. But remember, crowns are not what change galaxies. Hearts are. Elias placed his hand on Lyra's shoulder. And courage, he added. Never forget that. Lyra smiled. I won't. Above them, holographic banners shifted, not displaying ancient noble crests, but a new symbol, a star entwined with a rising sun, the emblem of unity. For the first time in galactic history, the Council of 12 bowed not to tradition, not to bloodline, but to the future. Later, as twin moons rose over Zalara Prime, Seralith and Elias stood alone on the palace balcony, Lyra sleeping in Seralith's arms. "Do you ever think about that day?" Elias asked quietly. "When you chose." Seralith glanced up at the stars. "Every day. And if you had to choose again?" She turned to him, her luminous eyes warm. "I would freeze the galaxy a second time." Elias laughed softly, wrapping an arm around them both. Out in the infinite dark, stars burned patiently, silent witnesses to a moment when a princess had defied expectation, a human had stepped into destiny, and an empire had learned that the strongest force in the universe was not tradition, nor power, nor fear, but the courage to choose differently. And the galaxy would remember.